We're unmuted. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So we're going to start with some brief introductions and some housekeeping bits. I'm Lily Bynes, and this is Brad Horton.
Thank you.
I forgot to change his name on the next slide, but I'd like to give a shout out to our other academic advisor, Julie Zeck, who is managing the live advising and question and answers. So we'll go over some of those pieces in a little bit, but could I ask, Julie, can you hear us okay? Can you respond on either the chat or the Q&A? I don't see anybody. Can anybody hear us? Yes, no? I might have to actually just poke my head around the corner and ask Julie if she can hear us. I wonder if she has her audio up. Okay. Oh. Somebody said they cannot hear.
They cannot hear us. Okay, that's good to know.
Let's see. We can unmute. Hello? Can you hear me now? I'm talking. I don't know if I should disconnect the. If I start the. Oh, I can hear you, Julie. Julie, you want to mute your. Okay, that's good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started.
All right, so as Lily said, we want to introduce ourselves so you know a little bit about who we are in the Dean's office here in the College of Ag and Environmental Sciences. As Lily said, my name is Brad Horton, and a little bit about me. I come from the wonderful city of Chicago, which is in Illinois. And in Chicago, I went to a school just outside of Chicago called Northwestern, where I studied economics, and I learned about my passion for helping students and engaging with students. And then I moved to Japan, where I actually got a chance to live abroad and teach students. And I learned how to connect that teaching and that guidance, and that's really where I formed my philosophy in terms of advising students and guiding students as their coach. I've been here in the Dean's office now for almost 5 years. Wow, almost 5 years, and I've been on campus for 12 years. And I love being here in Northern California, being a transplant from Chicago. I love going to the Mandavi Center. You can see a picture of the Mandavi Center below. It's one of my favorite things. And I also love being in the mountains, both snowboarding and then hiking with my dog, Bear.
And my name is Lily Bynes. I'm one of the academic advisors here as well. And some of the identities that I hold is that I grew up in the San Diego County area. I have a couple of cats, Chrissy and Fanny. I'm going to give a shout out to my beautiful son, Lorenzo, this little beautiful being down here. He's actually in the room next door, so this might be an interesting webinar. I use she, her pronouns, and I went to Chico State, and I'm an alum of Chico State, and I lived in Oakland for a little while. So before we move forward with some of the content of this webinar, I want to just give you a heads up that we're actually not going to be on camera after this slide, so we're going to turn off the camera so you can focus on the content of the webinar. In addition, this webinar is being recorded, so and it will be available online later on the college website. We encourage you to have a pen and paper handy during the webinar, as we may be going over some campus resources or ideas that you may want to jot down for yourself. And a couple of additional housekeeping items is there is a Q&A function, a question and answer function. Those questions are anonymous and are only going to come to us as presenters and to Julie. So the Q&A function is anonymous. No one in this webinar will be able to see your questions. And the Zoom webinar chat is actually not anonymous. So if you can, use the question and answer only, just so that we can keep things anonymous for the other attendees. Okay? So now, don't be alarmed, but we're going to stop the video and you're only going to hear our voices from here. And we'll come back on camera at the end of the presentation.
Sounds good.
So welcome back to 2018, and can you believe it's already week 4? I can't believe it's already week 4.
Week 4.
It's week 4. It's the end of January. So this is a great time to evaluate last year. Even though we're in week 4, there's still, you know, a lot of the quarter remaining. Obviously, it feels like we just started. So we're going to talk about evaluating last year and making commitments for improvements for 2018 if you feel like you have some room to improve. Many of you on this webinar have a variety of academic standing. Some of you are in good academic standing. Some of you are actually in academic probation, and some students are in different areas of academic standing, such as subject to disqualification. So we're hoping that this will be informative, and we will be sending out a post-webinar survey to ask about your interest in this particular webinar and future webinars. So our office does go through the process of notifying students at the end of each quarter, and it's actually at the start of the very next quarter, about the academic performance for the preceding quarter. We do that through an email messaging system, so it's important that you monitor your email at the end of each quarter, and hopefully you're maintaining regular contact with the Dean's office. For those of you that did receive an email from the Dean's office, we hope that you've already met with your major advisor. Perhaps you've already met with the Dean's office, and if you haven't yet done so, it's not too late to take action. And in fact, Pass 1 is coming up pretty soon for spring quarter registration, so we want you to make sure that you take some of the advice from today into those conversations. Maybe on your own, you've already decided to make some changes, and we hope that you will hear confirmation during this presentation today of the great things you're already doing, and maybe you'll also get some additional ideas and tools for yourself. Lastly, we do want this presentation to be a prompt to check in with the Dean's office, perhaps again, if you've already done so, in a couple of weeks, to talk about what your plans are going to be for spring and summer school. So that way we can help you get back into good academic standing, or perhaps help you set goals for higher levels of achievement. So just a couple of important dates to remind you about is that Pass 1 appointments are already available. You can see those on your homepage of OASIS. And your spring registration pass appointments are going to be between February 5th to the 16th. So in different parts of the presentation today, we're going to have short polls. As moderators, we will be able to see your responses, but your responses are going to be anonymous to other participants. You will see there are 2 ways to ask questions. If you use the Q&A function, as I said, those are going to come to only the moderators, and the chat function will be visible to everybody in the webinar. We might not answer your question right away if we know that we are going to cover the content in a later slide. But we will make sure that we go over all of those questions by the end of the presentation. Okay? You see on your screen the goals for our workshop today.
Okay, so we want to check your basic knowledge about academic probation. Please respond quickly to the poll that will appear on your screen in the next slide. And during our presentation, we are going to be doing a few of these polls on various topics. We want this presentation to be interactive. We want to hear from you in terms of your understanding of academic probation and check in with you. Your response, as Lily said, will not be attached to your name. These polls are anonymous. So, for our first poll, let's take a quick poll about qualitative academic probation. Take about 10 seconds to select what you think qualitative academic probation means.
So we'll just give you a couple more seconds to respond. And okay, we're going to end the polling.
Excellent. Thank you all for responding. So the 3 answers that you could choose from were below a 1.5 GPA, below a 2.0 but above a 1.5 GPA, or below a 2.0 GPA. The correct answer is B, below 2.0 but above a 1.5 GPA for the quarter. Excellent. So a student can also be on academic probation for minimum progress. Let's take a quick poll to see how you can get on academic probation for minimum progress or quantitative academic probation. Please enter your response within the next 10 seconds.
All right, 2 more seconds.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you all for responding. So the three answers that you could choose from: that you did not average 13 units in a full-time quarter, did not pass 12 units in a full-time quarter, or did not pass an average of 15 units in a full-time quarter. And the answer is A, that student did not average 13 units in a full-time quarter. The university requires full-time students to complete 39 units each academic year. So this averages out to 13 units per full-time quarter. Minimum progress is calculated at the end of the spring quarter. Probation specifically is when a student completes 38 units by spring quarter if you're full-time for the whole year.
So what about these numbers?
What about those three different numbers?
We see these numbers and hear about them from the time we're talking to students at orientation: 12, 13, and 15. So you need to have 12 units to be considered full-time. This can impact financial aid, tuition, and residence hall status. You need to average 13 units during each academic year to meet minimum progress. And if you're planning to graduate in 4 years or 12 full-time quarters, you would need to average 15 units each academic year to graduate in 4 years. If you do not complete 39 units during the academic year, it is crucial for you to discuss your progress with the dean's office so you can be enrolled in the correct number of units for the next academic year. Talk with us about how summer school units can be used in this scenario. This could be summer school completed in this coming summer, 2018, but we also want to know if you went to summer school in 2017. It's important to develop a reasonable and realistic strategy to address your unit progress. Again, 12 for full-time, 13 minimum average for minimum progress, and 15 units to graduate in a 4-year time period. That's me again. So academic probation, there are different types. And Brad did go over the definition of this. When your UC GPA or your overall quarter GPA is below a 2.0 but more than a 1.5 for one time or more. So probation will happen in the first single quarter. Probation continued is if you are on probation in this GPA range for 2 consecutive quarters. If you have a 3rd consecutive quarter of probation for GPA, you will be in subject to dismissal or subject to disqualification status. Please note there are other reasons that you may be subject to disqualification. If your UC GPA is below a 2.0, it's important to discuss with the dean's office to help you get back into good academic standing. You need to also be aware that only UC grades impact your UC GPA. If you are planning to repeat or you are currently repeating any D or F grades, you should discuss with an advisor the impact of this repeat on your UC GPA. And as I mentioned, Pass 1 is coming up for spring quarter, so this is a great time to start talking about what will spring and summer look like, especially in terms of your repeats, where you plan to be this summer, and for minimum progress. You can also be on probation for minimum progress because the average is 13 units per full-time quarter. It's calculated at the end of each spring. So if you did not pass 13 units in the fall quarter, you will want to meet with the dean's office to discuss your specific situation. We can help you strategize ways to reach minimum progress. Sometimes the strategy will include the upcoming summer to complete units. Summer is a great way to restore your units for minimum progress so you don't overload yourself for winter or spring. Each student's situation is different, so even if you have talked with friends, other campus resources, or if you've discussed this already with your major advisor, it's important to follow up with the dean's office to go over your academic record and your plans for the next few terms. So remember, 12, 13, and 15. 12 units for full-time, 13 unit average for minimum progress, and 15 unit average to graduate in 4 years. We do not encourage students to enroll in too many units to reach minimum progress. If you are enrolled in more than 15 units, really at any time of the quarter, please come and seek advising from the dean's office to discuss your intention with that enrollment and a strategy to ensure that to hopefully ensure that you will be successful.
And there can be many reasons for academic challenges. When you came to UC Davis, you came with the expectations of doing very well. And sometimes unexpected challenges or situations outside of your control can happen. The transition to UC Davis can sometimes be harder than anticipated. And remember, UC Davis is a large university and the quarter system is incredibly fast. So it's not uncommon to feel behind or unsure where to go for help. Anything from your study habits, personal or family issues, financial situation changes, becoming ill or injured, any of those types of situations can impact your academic performance. And these are some of the common reasons students have academic difficulty. Perhaps now you've had a chance to reflect on your academics and challenges in this last academic year. Now is the time to adopt some new study habits to support a successful winter quarter and to finish the year strong. So, another poll that we'd like to hear from you on. So what are some of the main contributing factors that affected your grades? Please take the next 10 seconds to select from the list that you believe was the main reason that your quarter didn't go as you had planned or as well as you had hoped. Remember, your responses are anonymous. So we'll leave this poll open for another 10 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for participating in the poll, everybody.
Thank you very much. So it looks like time management was one of the main concerns for our students in this webinar, that managing your time can be a huge challenge, especially on the quarter system.
You know, and work oftentimes comes up as one of these things. You know, some of our students that come to UC Davis as transfer students may be managing work along with courses at the community college before transferring, or maybe even as a high school student, you were capable of doing a lot of extracurricular activities or work outside of academics. And the quarter system here is sometimes difficult to balance all of those things, which kind of coincides with time management.
It does go hand in hand with time management. Balancing extracurricular activities, work, family responsibilities, as well as academics can be a huge challenge. So in terms of returning to good standing, how does that happen? So to return to good academic standing, you must complete the winter quarter with C average grades. You have the power and the ability to help yourself return to good academic standing. And there are a variety of campus resources to help support you do this. It's important to seek advising and to know your options. We talked about some of the factors that may have impacted your classes. So we encourage you to consider any changes or things you may need to do to address and make a plan of action to help you reach your academic and your personal goals. Remember, you're not alone. There are so many resources and advising options to help you out and to help you achieve your goals. But while you're not in good academic standing, please be aware that, number one, you cannot change your major while you're not in good academic standing. You cannot change your letter graded class to a pass-no-pass basis on Schedule Builder. So if a class is only offered as pass-no-pass grading, you can take those classes like PHE classes, physical education classes, or some seminars like first-year seminars. You just can't change a letter-graded class to a pass-no-pass. And also, to add on this, if at any point in time during the quarter you start to struggle in your classes, or if life stuff happens that starts to impact your academic progress, that's a good opportunity to seek advising from the dean's office to explore your options for the quarter. And it's important to do this right away when things start to feel a little bit uncertain. And although minimum progress will not be measured until the end of spring quarter, it's important to discuss the number of units you've completed with your major advisor as well as with the dean's office so we can help you strategize ways to meet academic expectations.
There are a variety of campus resources to help and support you here while you're at UC Davis. If you haven't already done so, we encourage you to start exploring campus resources. Familiarize yourself with their services. Stop by their office to know where they are located and take the time to ask their staff questions about their resources. They are all here to support you academically and personally. For example, in the Student Academic Success Center, you'll find things on their website to include information regarding study skills, which can address some of the time management that was brought up earlier during our poll. There's also a wonderful success coaching program where you can work with somebody one-on-one on setting up goals and maybe even assessing the things that were working for you before, but maybe aren't quite clicking here in the quarter system at UC Davis. And there's also success programs such as the Guardian Scholars Program, EOP, the Transfer Reentry Center, just to name a few. Tutoring includes both in-person and a pilot online tutoring program that's being piloted for this academic year in a variety of subjects. There's tutoring for math, sciences, economics, I'm trying to think what else is on there, and physics and writing. There's writing assistance and chemistry. So be sure to take a look at everything that's on there, even not just lower division classes, but some upper division classes as well. Student Health and Counseling Services, obviously they have counseling services, which also includes a satellite program, which is essentially a counselor from the Counseling Services Office that visits the dean's offices. So there is somebody in each dean's office that holds hours. Here in our dean's office, Annie Hahn, we share her with the College of Biological Sciences. So she's here a couple days a week and over there in the Life Sciences building a couple days a week. And group counseling is also available as well as peer counseling. In addition to those resources and, of course, medical services, there's a variety of food and nutrition support and wellness programs. Some students are very familiar with the therapy fluffies that come out during finals week. So, you know, go out and rub the head on the book head in front of the library, and then for good luck, and go see the therapy fluffies in front of the coho. The Student Health and Counseling Services also has another counseling resource called the Community Advising Network. The acronym is CAN. And this places counselors in a variety of student locations all over campus so that it can help destigmatize the availability or accessibility for reaching counseling resources. And if you find that access to food, healthy food options is something that's affecting your academics, there is food resources available in a resource called the Pantry and the Veggie Up program. The CalFresh program, also known as food stamps, is also a resource that is accessible through their website for food and nutrition support. In the Student Community Center, there's a variety of student communities that you can see here. I want to point out to you that the Services for International Students and Scholars and the Women's Research and Retention Center is not located in the Student Community Center, but I wanted to mention them here as part of very important communities on our campus. And I'm just realizing that I also didn't include some of our other cultural center initiatives that are available on campus as well. So I encourage you to look into those resources as well. And we can talk with you here in the Dean's office about those. There's a variety of advising resources, many of which I hope that you have taken advantage of. Major department advising, peer advisors. We'll have our location again at the end of this presentation. But if perhaps your major is something that you are contemplating or deciding to explore a little bit more, you can search the term major card sort on the UC Davis homepage, and there's an online exploration tool that you can use to explore all of the UC Davis majors and minors. There's also an office called Health Professions Advising that holds drop-in hours here in the Dean's office on Fridays, typically between 10 and 12. And so if you're thinking about any health profession, pre-vet, pre-med, pre-dental, physical therapy, any of those kinds of things, you can visit Health Professions Advising website or visit them here in the Dean's office on Fridays, Friday mornings during their drop-in hours. So all of these places, even attending one of the career fairs, can be another campus resource to help you in exploring your major and how it relates to your career, which ultimately can help you in your success in your classes.
So as you can tell, there are a lot of resources and a lot of folks around here on campus to help you out. So I guess the question is, what should you consider when you're moving forward? And hindsight is 20/20. This is an opportunity to reflect back on the quarter and any challenges that you faced. What could have helped you have a different academic situation? Examples could be using some of the academic services Lily described, changing your study space, participating in study groups, better balancing your work and school, or better balancing your course load, taking less units, or being less involved in extracurricular activities, things like this. There are so many offices and people here at Davis to help you that even all of these options can be overwhelming to sort through. So we want you to come in and chat with us to review the available resource as it pertains to your individual situation.
I jumped the gun on the poll.
So in terms of the poll, it looks like we have had almost everybody respond. So what are some of the things that you would do differently? We'll give a little bit more.
And relaunch it. Okay.
Oh, it looks like everybody's responded. So it looks like you've all thought about at least one resource that you can use to help yourself in this next quarter. And it looks like talk to somebody for support was one of the primary resources in terms of identifying next steps or things that you could have done differently to improve your academic situation. Some of those other options include forming study groups or tutoring. I know that sometimes can be a very helpful way to support yourself, or to talk to the dean's office about your academic choices in the classes that you're taking. As you think about ways to ensure your success, also think about the specific resources that you're going to use and what you're going to do to create a manageable action plan to use the resource that you selected.
You know, Brad, in the webinars I've done for this topic, a lot of students don't pick office hours with professors or TAs. Is there anything that you can share about how students can explore or do differently their engagement with office hours?
That's a really good point, Lily. I think that a lot of people overlook how helpful professors and teaching assistants can be. When you're struggling in a class or you're finding particular concepts in a class challenging, I think one of the first places that you should visit is your professor's office hours or your TA's office hours to talk about where you're at in terms of understanding the topic and to ask for different ways or strategies they can provide to help you learn more about that topic or to maybe have a different explanation for that topic. So office hours can be incredibly helpful if you're finding a particular class challenging. And that's a really good point about not everybody thinks to go to your professor when you're finding a course challenging, but professors really do want people to utilize office hours. I remember in engineering, when I used to work there, I had a professor who would always talk about how bare his office hours were at the beginning of the quarter and how busy they became towards finals and midterms. And you don't need to wait until finals and midterms to talk to your professors or to ask for help. They're there throughout the quarter to support you.
Yeah, and you know, we get really busy in the dean's office during certain times of the quarter. So as do maybe sometimes professors. And so I would encourage students, if the office hours don't match up with your availability, if you're having challenges connecting with the person that you're trying to meet with, send them an email, drop them a note, you know, try different methods to communicate to them what your needs are and what your availability is in order to help you get in contact with the resource that you're looking for.
And this is an opportunity. Academic probation is an opportunity to make changes and improvements. So think about framing your situation positively and don't stay in the past. What is done, and we want you to better understand how you came to be on academic probation, the specific challenges you faced, and what you could have done differently, so as to frame this academic probation as an opportunity to help yourself return to good academic standing and to be successful. Because we know that you could be a successful student, and you know that too. It's more a matter of using this as an opportunity and using some of the resources and partnerships on campus and advising to get to that goal. And advising is a partnership, and so are the community resources to support your success.
So hopefully you've been using that pen and paper that I asked you to break out before we got started. But I would like for you to think about an action plan, the who, what, how, and when of what you need to do in order to reach the goals that you're setting for yourself this quarter. You've had time to think about what has happened this last academic year, and maybe think about some of the folks on campus that can help you support this plan. Although it may be uncomfortable at first to discuss any personal and academic challenges, or maybe even sharing what your goals are with a stranger, we want to remind you that we are partners and we're here to help you succeed. If you've been trying to resolve and explore all these things on your own, that can be a little overwhelming. And now is the time to seek support and ask for more information. Allow us to connect you with resources and advising. For students that are experiencing academic or personal challenges, we hear lots of things as to why they never came in for advising. Some students are worried about bothering advisors. Some students just want to do it on their own. And some students have a sense of shame and feel they are letting their family down. Both Brad and I are first generation to college graduates, students then graduates.
Students then graduates, that's right.
And we know how difficult it can be to navigate the university when it seems like you're doing it all by yourself. So we know, and we also know firsthand how difficult it can be to ask for support given familial and sometimes cultural expectations. However, please remember that we are here to help, that you asking for advice is not an inconvenience to us. You are not bothering us. This is what we are here for. Pride, ego, shame, and fear, or even a strong sense of obligation to being independent may hold you back from achieving success and your goals if you don't use resources to support you. Students don't set out planning to encounter personal or academic difficulty, but we know that despite any stumble you may encounter, you belong here and you can succeed. You earned your admission to UC Davis, and we want to help support you to be successful in all of your goals. So write down your action plan and share it with somebody who's going to hold you accountable. Maybe connect with a success coach, talk with your roommate, come in and share it with us in the dean's office, because we want to be here to support you. I encourage you to start to get to know the people, staff, faculty, and peer advisors that work in the campus resources we mentioned. You may find an unlikely hero or shero or helpful little squirrel that will help you explore balance and develop tools for academic success. Positioning yourself for success is a partnership with your own reflection and working with your major and the dean's office.
Okay, so now let's take a quick poll to check what you've learned about academic probation. So we're going to take about 10 seconds to select what you think qualitative academic probation means.
So hopefully we get 100% on this one.
I hope so.
Okay.
All right.
And the polling.
Looks like everyone answered really quickly. So the three selections were qualitative academic probation is when your GPA is below a 1.5, B below a 2.0 but above a 1.5, or C below a 2.0. And the correct answer is, in fact, B, when you're below a 2.0 but above a 1.5 GPA. All right. Excellent. Thank you for answering so quickly, everyone. I appreciate that. So a student can also be on academic probation for minimum progress. Remember, minimum progress won't be measured until spring quarter. So let's take a quick poll to see how one can get on quantitative academic probation. Please enter your response on screen now within the next 10 seconds.
Okay, and
wow.
That's it.
It looks like everyone answered very good. Thank you so much, everyone, for answering quickly. So the three answers that you could select from were you did not average, or excuse me, quantitative academic progress, or being on probation for quantitative reasons, when you did not average 13 units in a full-time quarter, did not pass 12 units in a full-time quarter, did not average 15 units in a full-time quarter, and the answer is in fact A, when you did not average 13 units on average in a full-time quarter. Remember, the university requires full-time students to complete 39 units each academic year, which averages out to 13 units per full-time quarter. If you remember back to the three numbers that we were talking about, 12 units for full-time standing, 13 units on average for a full-time quarter to meet minimum progress, or 15 if you intend on graduating in 4 years. Those are the numbers, and minimum progress, like I said, is calculated at the end of the spring quarter. Probation is when you complete 36 to 38 units by the end of spring quarter.
Okay, so we're coming back on camera, I think.
We're going to come back on
There we
camera.
are. Hello.
Hello, everyone, again.
So here's our contact information. Like us on Facebook. This webinar was advertised on Facebook through major advisors, through some of the centers on campus. And we have a variety of events that are advertised on the Facebook website, as well as scholarships, other internship opportunities and things. And in case you haven't been to our building, we are in Marac Hall. So that's the picture of it right there, the upside down egghead. I want to let everybody know about Pizza with the Counselors.
That's right, that's coming up.
It's coming up.
That's next week, I believe.
It is. It's on February 6th.
February 6th. So it's coming up here really quick on Tuesday. So
Tuesday?
It is Tuesday.
Oh my gosh. So where are we going to be for Pizza with the Counselors?
Oh, it's on the 5th. 5th is Monday. No, it's on the 6th. Excuse me.
It's the 6th.
It's on the 6th.
Tuesday.
So we will be in the afternoon on Tuesday, February 6th in the afternoon. We're going to be over in the Student Community Center, and you'll have a chance to meet with Lily or myself or many of the other excellent counselors that we have in the office that are here as part of your support network. It's a chance to sit down and share a slice of pizza with us and chat with us about how things are going.
Yeah. We don't charge you for that. So there's we also have, that's a quarterly event, Pizza with the Counselors. And then we also have study break, which happens at the end of every quarter, right before finals get started, where we basically kind of have a mini open house where you can stop by 150 Marac Hall and get some snacks. From time to time, we do a raffle. It'll be springtime, so we'll probably have some cool drinks, and we'll be able to meet you, and you can talk with some of the advisors there. Sometimes the dean or the associate dean might stop by as well. And coffee with the dean is another frequent event that we have, where our dean, Helene Dillard, and our associate dean, Sue Ebler, will be there to answer questions for students.
So there are many opportunities to connect with our office and with the counselors in our office, because we are here to help you. So check our Facebook page out for more information about different ways that you can come meet us outside of the office, if you will.
And it looks like Julie did an awesome job in answering all of the anonymous questions. Thank you so much, Julie, for your hard work today. And they were anonymous questions, so we're not going to go over them. A lot of them did have to deal with preparing for summer and spring and minimum progress. And I'm just going to look over my shoulder here, because the summer session website is summer-sessions, it's plural, summer-sessions at ucdavis.edu, and the registration is going to start on May 1st. So that happens really quickly when spring quarter gets started, so that's why we're encouraging you to have those conversations now. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered everything. Like I said, and like we had talked about, we're here to support you. So do not hesitate to make an appointment to come in and chat with us, not only about your academic standing, but also about your educational goals and what you want to get out of your time here at UC Davis.
Okay, thanks for joining us,
Thank you very much for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Take care.